Well, let me, because I'm gonna just jump right into it, and I know Greg is gonna jump in it as well. But Chief, Greg and I have constantly talked about, focusing the concentration on areas that we see a high prevalence of crime, because crime is everywhere. And so, some of the questions that we wanted to ask you, man, what is it, from a strategy standpoint, what is it that you would do to basically impact those communities that we see a high degree of crime, and also building a relationship with those folks that live in those communities?
You know, Rod, it's a great question because as I've been walking these communities, and I have been nonstop going to events and talking to everybody, that's on their minds. Mm-hmm. You know, they keep hearing it. You know, we had a 70-year-old grandmother riding her bicycle to the neighborhood at 10 o'clock at night. You know, a little bit late, but she should be able to do that without a problem. I mean, come on, you know, and they still haven't found a murderer. You know, we had the 16-year-old kid who's an immigrant from the Dominican Republic on the way to school. Yeah. You know, getting killed, and they still haven't resolved that. The first thing we have to do with any problem, I think both of you would agree with me, is to acknowledge that there's a problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because if you don't acknowledge there's a problem, you keep avoiding it, you put your head, you know, like an ostrich in the sand. So that's number one. Right. Acknowledge it, get in front of it, let everybody know, and then put your plan in place. So one of the things that I have to do is we got to leverage technology. For example, I mean, there's a multifaceted approach to this, because there isn't not one silver bullet that's going to resolve all this. Mm-hmm. So that's number one, is we got to leverage technology. What am I talking about? Well, you got spot shotter, okay? It's a technology that detects
gunshots, right?
Gunshots.
Okay, on that, and that is where we kind of just throw it back at you. I've heard about that technology over the years, Greg. We've had law enforcement on the show and talked about it. Is that technology in these high-risk communities as we speak right now? And if not, and I know you can't necessarily answer this, I'm jumping on you like you.
Yeah. Like you already shared.
That's okay. No, you can. I need to give me the practice. I need to practice, because once I get there, I'm not gonna, you know, I won't be perfect, but I gotta.
To your knowledge, is this technology in those communities right now?
No, it doesn't exist. Does not exist. Now, you know, some people say, well, you know, you can't afford it to put it everywhere in the community. No, it's, you know, it's strategy. Right. It's, you know, you know, when you're taxed on resources, you start thinking smarter. All right, so you put it in areas of hot spots where you're here. Listen, I'm not going to call out the community, but I've been in a certain community where I was there talking to people, and they tell me, "Goes, yeah, we hear gunshots all the time." I said, "Really?" They go, "Yeah," and I go, "What do you do about it?" I go, "Nobody does anything about it." I said, "Why?" Because they don't come. Police don't come.
But here's my problem. Here's my problem. We know where it takes place at, and I'm going to go back to a training that I got from law enforcement from around the state, CompStat. So CompStat is applying that management resource in communities where the data says, here's where the problems are. So why is it that technology in communities that every time we look up, Channel 2, Channel 6, and which one is your favorite, Greg? I forgot.
No, you already called it garbage channel, news channel 6. I hate that channel.
But hey, see, that'll get Greg going every time.
Yeah, don't talk with me
but CompStat, man, I think law enforcement does an excellent job with utilizing CompStat. But why isn't that in
crime? You're talking about CrimeStat. Yeah, CrimeStat. You got CrimeStat, you got CompStat.
Okay.
CompStat is holding your leaders accountable.
Okay.
Okay, about the crime in your neighborhoods. That's what they did in my old agency. You know, you'd be put on a hot seat, and they say, hey, what about this that's going on in your area of responsibility and what you're doing about it? That also needs to be done too. Here in these local agencies, to hold the leaders over those areas accountable, because they're also policymakers and need to come up. But you're right, Rod. We have to, hotspots, you know, make it really simple for people, hotspots, an area that is known to have certain trends of crime. Okay? And we know through time that things change. You know, you got generations, they got different, you know, different drugs, different crimes are going on. Crime is also focused on type of business. A victim is a victim getting victimized over and over again. Is a location getting victimized over and over again. That's what you have to find out. That's what you got to dig deep. Now, there's a thing about data. Data has to be good data. Right. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're not getting good data, you're not going to be able to find the strategies and how to attack it. But yeah, there's the technology is there, spot shotter. I and some other people who I've spoken to, we all have our opinions why they don't have it. I don't know. Back to what I said earlier. You got to do what? You got to acknowledge that there's a problem.
Right. I'm going back to my point in case. CompStat, CrimeStat. Why isn't that technology and we're not talking a lot of communities. We got 9 zip code communities in Orange County. Hey, I gotta say this with all due respect. Law enforcement, I tell you, they put their lives on the line on a regular basis. This is their livelihood also. And we take our hats off to those guys and women. We need to look at what's taking place in these local communities with faith and community-based organizations that have access to the same people that we see are going in and out of these doors on a regular basis.